Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Tate here from Nanjing Marketing Group. I want to give you a little tour of the Chinese news app Toutiao. I'm going to pull it up here on my phone and we're going to look at some of the content on here. The reason is somebody from our comments asked me what I think about using Toutiao. And actually, we don't use it much for marketing, and my team doesn't use it a whole lot for personal reasons either. So I just installed it myself and looked through it, and I'm looking now at what it's like and what type of opportunities there are for marketing on it. So Toutiao is like this. It's very simple. You open it up and you get a feed of content. And the content in here is going to be mostly news, educational information. There'll be some memes, some funny stuff, a whole bunch of different things. What I'm not seeing in here is like family pictures from my friends or their personal stuff or things they're promoting. So this app is supposed to be mostly about news and information. From what I could find, they have about 270 million monthly active users or more. About 80% of them are age 18 to 30, and 60% of them are male. There's about 600,000 posts on here per day. Actually, I think that number might be a little bit old. It might be more than that by now. So what's special about this app? Because if I look through it and I actually click through some of these different features and areas, there's actually a lot of things about it that are just like all the other apps. But I think what's special about it is that the recommendation engine is just really good. Now, I wanted to prepare to make this video for you and make it in a couple minutes, and I ended up just spending hours going through this content and just finding all sorts of weird things. It is really good at predicting what it is that I might want to look at. And there's always more content in here too. So if I just refresh it, it's going to pull up more content. It's very smooth and fast. It's smooth both in China and outside of China. And that's not the same for all apps out there. I mean, even WeChat, if I'm loading it up outside of China, a lot of the images are going to load quite slowly. Let's take a look at a few pieces of content here. So I can find videos on here. There's actually a couple of different formats of videos. There's two main formats of videos that are popular in China. And one of them is kind of like this, which is, I would say, more like a YouTube kind of format. And then the other is the Douyin-like format. And you know that this company that creates Toutiao is ByteDance, which is also the company that owns Douyin too. Douyin is TikTok. So here's these videos, which are in the Douyin format. And once I get into this area, I can flip through the different short videos here. All right. Let's go back to this feed again, because I think this is the really important one and the one that most people are going to be using. All of the content is aggregated in here. One of the weird things about this app, and I think like most social apps in China, is the top two recommendations at the very top. Those ones are actually not something that's coming from the algorithm specifically for me, but these are notices from the government. So it's always going to be something positive about what the Chinese government is doing, like how they're dealing with coronavirus or helping the economy or getting along with people in foreign countries or beating USA at something, basically. There are a lot of different formats here. So unlike YouTube, which has just a couple, I mean, you can see they have these videos, they have text, they have these 3 image formats, and you know, they link to different content types, but they also just sometimes link to the articles, but with different formats on these teasers, if you know what I mean. Let's click this one here. This is an answer. So there is this Q&A platform that is built right within Toutiao. And what I've noticed here is there's a lot of answers here. Now, I didn't even know much about this answer platform before. We pretty much ignored it. but I think that we should test it out, at least because my company does a lot of work on Juhu. We focus on that Q&A platform Juhu because it's really relevant to B2B marketing, which is what we do. But if my team or your team or others is doing things on one platform, they might as well know about all the platforms and try to spread content to other places as well, right? To be clear, I mean that it's good to focus on a certain platform and do it really well. But then once you have that content ready for a certain platform, you might as well use that same content and spread it around, because China's broken into these different apps that are walled gardens, and they're all trying to be the everything app that people use. Okay, they're all trying to be this app where people can get everything that they need and just stay on the app for a really long time. So I can get these articles here from individuals or from businesses. And some of these are called articles and some of them are called microblogs, although the microblogs aren't even necessarily micro at all. One thing I'm wondering about this app is where the ads are. Now, I'm not seeing any ads. As a user, I wouldn't know which of this content is being promoted and which isn't. But Toutiao has the advertising systems built into it. You just, as a user, can't see which ones are promoted and which aren't. So I'll show you my desktop for a minute, because I found this article that shares more information about the different ad types on here. And it shows some of the ad types here. Now this is just content within the feed, but there's no notification about whether this is an ad or whether it's promoted or not. Basically, if you want to advertise on Douyin, the way that you would do it is you would still go about creating some type of cool content, and then you would use one of, sorry, not Douyin, on Toutiao. You would use one of Toutiao's advertising options. Okay, they have a few different advertising options. And after I'm done this video, I'm going to leave a link below too. It's going to have a blog post with a bit more information about the ad options, and it's going to sum up some of the stuff on Toutiao here. If I want to follow somebody, I can follow their account too. Now this is the first one that I'm following. And then if I go into this following section, I can see all of the content from accounts that I'm following. There's of course comments on the articles, and there can be a lot of comments, a lot of activity here. I think this is the kind of platform where some content can go very viral and can be spread to a huge number of people. Now, I know that this doesn't look a lot like YouTube, but in some ways this platform actually feels like YouTube to me, because the way that I'm using it is similar to the way that I use YouTube. As I look through these recommendations, I see a lot of different types of content, which is similar to YouTube, and I'm not seeing content from my friends. And I know that from my marketing on YouTube and watching other videos on YouTube, that a video will be shown to a small number of people, and then more, and then more and more. So it can spread out in that way. And that's the same way that your content could be spread here on Toutiao as well. So this is basically it, what I'm seeing so far. For our own marketing, I wouldn't use Toutiao a whole lot, but I am going to have our teams post more content on it just to test what it is. And then when we find the results, like we always do, we're going to be sharing more information in our newsletter, especially, but sometimes on our YouTube or blog as well. I think that Toutiao would be really useful for brands that are selling things that are that just have that viral aspect to them. Okay. I'm also glad to hear what you guys are using Toutiao for. What do you think about it? How is it to use it as a user? How are you using it for marketing? Leave us a comment. Besides that, give us a like or subscribe, and I'll see you later.